This episode is sponsored by Choice.
Choice is a global platform offering paid companionship and intimacy designed for those seeking meaningful, consensual connections. It provides a safe, respectful space for clients to connect with providers for social, emotional, or intimate experiences.
Choice prioritizes safety with strict ID and selfie verification for all members. They maintain a zero-tolerance policy for behavioral violations to ensure a secure experience.
Your communication on Choice are securely stored with confidentiality as a top priority.
Choice offers clear, upfront information on profiles, including response times and ratings, so clients can make confident, informed choices in a stigma-free environment.
Choice empowers individuals by destigmatizing paid companionship and intimacy, fostering a judgment-free, safe community for meaningful connections.
With FAQs, customer support, and in-app guidance, Choice ensures smooth and stress-free connections every time.
Choice offers true freedom, allowing clients to find companionship and intimacy on their own terms, safely and securely.
Choice only offers paid companionship and intimacy services within the legal boundaries of each jurisdiction.
Ready to define connection? Visit choice.ch to explore meaningful companionship and intimacy. Sign up today.
Welcome, fellow lushes. Come on in, pull up a bar stool, and enjoy some cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
Welcome back to another episode of Cocktails with Dimples and the Beard. Just in time for this planned 4B movement here in the United States. We got fucking Arik Bruckner in to help us guys because the ladies are holding out on you boys. 4B's taking over. I'm gonna Americanize his name. Arik Bruckner is here to.
But when he conquers when he conquers the states, you don't have to worry about it.
Now
anymore.
is the time. I don't know if Arik knows that, but now is the time to expand into the states. The ladies are cutting shit off down here. Boys are going to be desperate.
And they're
mad and they won't take anymore.
They're mad.
They're shaving their heads.
Yeah, I see it. It's crazy.
It's insane.
And they're cutting you off.
Yeah. The good news is they've kind of they're eliminating the need for abortion. So we're
the good news is the ones that are cutting us off.
I've been very much enjoying watching the videos of people's reactions to the election and just what people put on I get the people that were sad by it and cry in their privacy. I get that in the privacy of your own home.
Do what you want to do.
But the people that record themselves doing it,
yep, and
then you at that point you could be like, oh, that's kind of a dumb idea. You still have the opportunity to not hit.
You're gonna watch it before you put it out there.
Yeah.
And you're going, oh, that's good.
Those people still go,
oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I
don't think
I'm gonna nope. I'm gonna delete that one. I'm gonna redo it because I want more snot bubbles coming out.
I don't think that the 4B women get that there are plenty of women out there still willing to. Your movement only works if you all agree. I don't know if women really understand that guys will stick their dick in any pussy.
True. I mean, but also
just because
are they getting? Is there a wide traffic for these ladies that are cutting people off?
Is there a lot of them?
No. There's a lot of them doing it.
Yeah, there's a lot of them doing it, but not enough. I'm saying you have to have 100% buy-in if you want this to work.
Right.
And also, what does work mean? That's the other thing. And I'm not trying to argue one side or the other. All I'm saying is, what is this going to do?
It's going to drive him into the arms of another woman.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, what is your political?
I don't know.
What do you think politically is going? Do you think that all of the men of the world are going to be like, fuck, the women aren't letting us fuck them, kill Trump, put Kamala in, we'll take it just as long as we can get some pussy. What is your play? Your play doesn't work.
Well, it doesn't work because it's okay, I'll just go over here then.
Right, exactly. That's what I said. You need 100% buy-in.
Yeah, that's that. All right.
Yeah, I don't think they really thought this through.
No.
So,
well, and the other, yeah. You're right. I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's going to be now. How many are going to actually fulfill it for 4 years?
Not 4 years. If most of them are going to fall off after 4 days.
Well,
so now the ones who shave their heads, they got at least like 4 months before they're even fuckable again. So,
well, going back to your statement, if she's like, all right, I got little fusses on pit top, but I'm willing to give in.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
There's somebody out there going, well, let me have a shot, and then we'll go.
But maybe Switzerland will have an immigration problem soon. all the desperate Americans, and also women realize that there are more of them than there are men.
Well, I was going to say is again, if anything, if they're going to be crying in a year from now, saying my man left me, he went to another woman because
I know there's gonna be a few of those stories, and it's gonna be fun to watch.
Why? He left me.
I found this channel on YouTube. It's called Sugar Tits, and it's the Sugar Tit Bear, and it's like I don't know who the person is. It's some female from Australia talking, and she just goes through these videos and just kind of pokes fun at the people that are losing their mind like this over it.
Oh, nice.
It's their funny videos.
So there you go. Sugar Tits, come on and talk about
Sugar Tits. All we would see is a cartoon bear if she came on, because it's like a logo. It's just a cartoon bear.
Gotcha. Well, we could meet Sugar Tits. Are you ready to? You're.
I know. I wouldn't shut up. I was on a roll. I've been wanting to talk about the 4 Bs for a while.
Just wanted to let you get it out, man. Get it out.
Yeah, it's out.
Now I can open the
Luckily for me, my wife is not a 4B'er. I asked her, I said, are you going to 4B this up? She said, what? I said this. She's like, no, I want to fuck as much as you do.
No.
Good, thank God.
I want sex. Do you want
I was a little worried, but I knew she went home.
Yeah, I don't know that you were worried at all. And that's fine.
I got a good one. She wouldn't fall for that nonsense.
But you know what? Every one of you, more power to you. If it makes you happy, more power to you.
Okay.
I
guess.
I don't know what else to say. I have no idea what else to say to them.
Here's the thing. None of them are happy. They're not doing it because it makes them happy.
This is true.
They're fucking miserable twats.
But maybe this will make them happier when they're not getting.
Are you shaving
pleasure?
your head?
No, I like my hair.
Good.
Good. I like your hair too. Well,
sorry, cult. You can't have her.
Anyway. Nope. She's
I'm not afraid to say it. I'm done. We're just gonna call out the bullshit from here on out, man. The goal is to get canceled at this point.
Yes.
I don't think you can do just legitimate interview podcasts where you just interview people hey, how you doing? What's your without creating some waves.
Let's do it.
And I'm not trying to create waves just to create waves. Like, this is just fucking dumb. And
well, I mean, to be fair, it's not the only dumb thing.
It's not. It's just what I picked today.
We got a lot of dumb things going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of dumb shit
all over the place.
Yeah, hypocrisy is running wild. So believe me, I got something. I mean, the liberals will be mad at me for this one. Tomorrow I'll piss off the Trumpies. Like, we're fine. I can piss off both sides equally well. I'm relentless. So,
wow. Well, there we go. Well, hey, other than that, let's have a good time tonight.
Well, yes. Again, we got Arik Bruckner, the founder or
co-founder of. Let's see who else he. Let's see who. We'll find out who else he is conspiring with to bring the world back to peace and loving. And I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know.
You think the app is if any app is going to
it's going to bring you back.
If any app is going to secure world peace, it's his app.
Because if he goes worldwide in this paid companionship,
yes.
Which it can mean multiple of different things.
We can rant about that too. Why is paid companionship not legal here in the United States?
Well, that you're right, because I mean, let's go after something. Your body, your choice. If you want to sell your body, why can you not?
Exactly.
I don't quite understand that.
I do. We can piss off the church people on the next episode. So
let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I'm not. That's what I said.
But this would be a good one to talk about that. And we can talk about that with Arik.
Stop it. Stop it. Just say it right. It's Arik.
Arik
Bruckner.
Arik
Bruckner.
So everybody do us a favor. Give us a like, subscribe, share. We got Rumble, YouTube. Go check us out. Share with your friends. Share with your enemies. We appreciate it. Instagram, you name it. Facebook. Leaving the tickety-tock. We got some reels coming out for you. So
I think
as of right now,
I think they call them talks on TikTok.
we're talkers. We're right. Are we talkers?
By the way, we might only be on Rumble after this intro.
Excellent. Well, it's not. Keep a pretty man waiting. Handsome man waiting.
He is a handsome fellow.
He is a handsome fellow.
So without further ado,
Fuck off.
Arik Bruckner. Okay. All right. So we're joined by Arik Bruckner. I'm trying not to Americanize that too much because I saw it and I wanted to call you Arik Bruckner, of course, but.
That's perfect.
Arik Bruckner?
Arik Bruckner is
Okay.
perfect, actually, yeah.
Awesome. And you are the co-founder of the Choice app. So why don't we just start, get a little backstory on you and you know how you got into the tech world to begin with and all that good stuff.
Well, how I got into the tech world? Well, so I've always been entrepreneurial. I would say so. I don't know. I started my sales career basically when I was still in kindergarten at the age of 5. I don't know, selling whatever I could find, basically. Then baking bread. Then I don't know, selling T-shirts. And then eventually, I met the genius engineer at high school, so we started selling custom software together.
Okay.
When it was still special. I don't know, building a website or an online shop. And then I kind of liked the values that software could provide, as opposed to just work, no life quality path that, for example, at the time my brother was in investment banking, so that was like I preferred the tech way to the investment banking way. So that's why I stayed in tech, and then entered into B2B SaaS. Studied while we were bootstrapping that company at university as well. And then after 10 years, we were able to sell the business to a private equity company. I remained on as an investor, but I said after 10 years, I've seen the B2B world. I want to, take a break and then stay in software. I'm really passionate about tech. I really love the impact that it can have. So before we had an impact on the business users, salespeople of large corporations. And now I really wanted to have an impact on society with tech. So that's how I landed with Choice.
So did the idea of Choice come up like when you were done with your 10 years and said, now I need something else to do? Or were you thinking about what's my next step and then thought of it earlier?
No, I really said, okay, this is done, chapter closed. Took 2 years off, was traveling with my wife, and then just thought about, I kind of knew that I wanted to do a consumer business. Just because I really like the idea of just building the product and building it for actual consumers. I like the bootstrapping part of the previous business. So I just love a challenge. So I knew it'll have to be a marketplace. Even though people in the context of Choice don't like to call it a marketplace, but I mean, from a tech perspective, that's what it is.
Sure.
So I kind of had these two, and I knew that I wanted to find a niche or a market where I could have an impact on society. So so combining all the three and doing research on societal challenges, I came across loneliness, but not the chronic state of loneliness. I mean, when I say loneliness, I mean also the extended form, like in a broader sense, like including aloneness. So circumstantial loneliness.
Sure.
A business traveler, for example, can be alone, but is not necessarily a lonely person.
Yeah.
Sure.
So then I kind of thought, well, if it's such a big issue or topic in general, and it seems to be very normal for society to pay people for their time. I mean, that's literally any job I can think of.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Anything.
why is it such a big deal to have a service that's called paid companionship? Because as soon as you say it, paid companionship, it already sounds like it has this undertone. It sounds like escort, and then escort seems to be associated with sex or paid sex or sex work all the time. Mm-hmm. Even though it's not true. Like, we ran a survey across 700 sex workers, and I asked everyone, what percentage would you say of meetings are non-sexual? Like, can be intimate, holding hands, cuddling, but non-sexual. Yeah. And the consensus was 40%.
Okay.
So we are basically calling 40% sex work that has actually nothing to do with sex. Sure. So it's just a terminology thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's such a stigma. And where are you located?
I'm in Zurich, Switzerland right now.
Okay, yeah, and we're obviously in the States, and I don't know how the stigma compares where you're at to where we are. A lot of it would be I don't know the legality of it where you are either compared to where we are. I think that in a lot of states here, the legality of it, I don't know that it would even be available to us. So there is just such a stigma in the States. How does it compare where you're at?
So it's an interesting question. In Switzerland is a decriminalized country. Okay. So the entire paid companionship spectrum, the way we call it, is legal. So anything from having coffee to holding hands, to somatic sexology to actual sex work is legal. I wouldn't say
the way it should be, by the way. the way it should be.
So that's actually the point, right? The way it should be, but kind of also not the way it should be, because of course we are very pro decriminalization, but decriminalization in a meaningful way. I think what Switzerland did is kind of a we don't care approach. So it's been legalized, but then it's not regulated, which leads to a situation where you have platforms out there that don't even do proper age verification.
Sure.
And that's the opposite extreme. Or, for example, we are the only platform actually globally that manages the bookings. So we are the only platform that asks after each booking, how did it actually go? And for something that's around paid companionship or intimacy, or even if it's about holding hands, it's kind of important to know, did a meeting happen and how did it go? Because if it didn't go well, we want to be able to prevent that person from re-entering the market. And that's why we do client verification with a government-issued ID and a selfie, so that if something goes wrong, which we cannot prevent, at least it can get reported, and we can prevent that particular person from re-entering. Because even if they change the phone or email address, they can't really re-enter if they're blocked with an ID.
Yeah. Now, I would say that's a big thing that pulled you apart from the other dating apps, right? Is that, as what you were just talking about. So do you report them to other platforms or anything if somebody does act out? Or just within your own platform, they can't re-enter?
Well, I mean, there's a data privacy a problem, of course. Like, we can't just report people to other platforms without their consent. They would have to consent to it, right?
Oh, okay.
So currently we don't do this, but I think the overarching topic is that it's safety. And so what we are really doing is we are just building the safest platform technology can build or allows us to build right now.
Yeah.
And that includes client verification, that includes document verification, that includes, for example, in the US, we can automate not just verifying if the document is valid, but also checking the document number against public registries, or, for example, against sex offender lists or criminal records. So it's an actual meaningful verification, and it's also meaningful for clients to be able to have it as a signal to say, look, I've gone through all these verifications and I have a clean slate. You don't have to ask me a million questions.
Sure.
What you just said is a huge one. I mean, it's one thing to be like, yep, the app tells me it's been verified. Well, I don't know what that is, but you're very open about this is what we do, and it's great. Yeah. I mean, against sex offender lists and things like that. Yeah, that's the first time I've heard of that. That's a great bonus.
And even though sex work is criminalized in the States, companionship isn't. So sure. It's legal to pay someone to have coffee with you, pay them for their time to have coffee with you, or even pay them to hold hands.
So as somebody in the States that we're talking with, and I use your app, I can search for people within the States.
Right now, there's no providers in the States except for one or two. But technically the platform is globally available. So as we're moving into the States and people sign up to offer paid companionship, you can also book or request paid companionship in the States. Okay. And I think what we're really looking forward to is a pilot project. So we are trying to get in touch with counties or districts. Like, for example, New York, like Manhattan has a very progressive stance towards sex work, but it would be really nice to actually run a pilot project with a government entity. So, for example, in the UK, we had a couple of meetings with the UK government already, and I really think there's a lack of understanding of the opportunity that this market has for governments. Like, for example, the industry exists anyways, but it's most likely not taxed to the full extent. Yeah. Most likely there is insurance gaps, like health insurance gaps, safety insurance gaps. There is a huge identification gap. So if there is criminal activity or violence, it's not. It's harder to detect because everybody's anonymous, and there's no data. There's absolutely zero data on how many meetings actually happen and how do they and if they go well or not. And at the same time, you have a mental health, productivity, loneliness, aloneness crisis, dating app burnout, etc. that have a huge impact probably on GDP and health cost.
When you boil it down to that, you don't think about that.
It would make so much sense to just address it with a gig economy thing. It's just people meeting other people, getting paid for their time, to just focus on the other person, which is, I think the monetary incentive is just making it a little bit more likely to match, because one person gets compensated. It doesn't have to be a perfect match like on a dating app.
Right. So how do we go about breaking the stigma so that apps like yours, become just more widely acceptable? What is I'm assuming you guys have sort of marketing plan to kind of try and, bring home the fact that this is an okay thing.
Actually, I think that's the funny thing almost, is that the stigma and the stereotypes are so high level that all you really have to do is show the market for what it really is. Like, just that thing about 40% being non-sexual. We don't have to change the market, We just have to run surveys, get the data, and then just put it out there and say, and ask people or ask society, do you really think having sex for money and having coffee for money are the same things? Right. And if you agree that these are not the same things, then you should stop generalizing everything as escorting or sex work, and you should rethink the terminology. I think it starts with the terminology, just accurately describing the market and segmenting it through. And I think a big part, we think a big part is also the booking process. Like, if you had to request paid companionship right now, where would you turn to? Probably, you wanted to pay someone to go with you to the theater or opera or have dinner tomorrow at 7 p.m. without having to write to 50 people, hoping somebody has time at 7 p.m. Like, more like a booking.com experience, or maybe an Airbnb experience.
Yeah.
you'd probably, the closest you'd get is probably a website with a lot of nudity on it.
Yeah.
Oh, without doubt. Yeah. Because that's all I think we have, is a hookup thing.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know where to go. To answer your question, I have no idea where I would go for that service.
So I think, we think that a big part is just working on the booking process, making it more, more nuanced or more appropriate for the service. So for example, if you go to our landing page, the landing page is, the default setting is companionship. So, everybody in the companionship section, and we've got criticized a lot for it, by the way, by actual providers, saying we are too strict in terms of clothing requirements and stuff like that. But that's exactly the purpose, is to say, if somebody is looking for companionship, they should be able to go through a booking process that is not insinuating anything else than companionship.
Right.
And then there's a button that's called intimacy, and holding hands or cuddling is part of intimacy. And there's still no nudity, but there's swimwear is allowed, for example.
Yeah.
So the way we approach it is just dismantling the stigma by redefining the market, creating more accurate terms, and backing everything we do or say up with data.
Okay. All right.
It's going to be an uphill battle, I think, for conquering definitely the States, because the stigma is so huge here. And I think you're going to probably get a lot of, yep, I'm there for sex, and be turned off by the other things, which is good. You weed out the weirdos, right?
Yeah.
And I would imagine that's what you're looking for, is we weed out the people that are just looking for sex, without being able to go through the process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the idea is really to open up. So first of all, we believe that companionship is the way larger market than intimacy. Everybody thinks, intuitively speaking, that intimacy is the biggest market because everybody thinks sex work is such a huge market. And yes, it's probably very large, but it's incomparably smaller than the topic of circumstantial aloneness. Probably every person on the planet is probably a potential customer for companionship at one point in their life, be it after. And when I say, I think we need to really try to understand what paid companionship means. So you could look at it from an educational angle, but you can also look at it from a wellness perspective. There's so much criticism around the dating experience nowadays, with dating app burnout, that you can just say, every once in a while, just like you're, going to a barber or hairdresser, you want to have a date on your terms as a wellness factor. Let's say you had 10 horrible dates, maybe you want the 11th one for sure to be, good.
Yeah, you want one. You got to have one that is going to go well.
Just to rebuild your confidence a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we have so there's a service on our platform called Self-Confidence Boost.
Oh.
And
okay.
You can have. I mean, we now it's public, right? We know that how the algorithms work on the dating apps, and how, how about the top 1% of especially male users, get 90% of all the interaction, etc. So I mean, there's a lot of frustration in the experience just based on how the algorithm is built, because the algorithm is not built for user success, or at least broad user success. It's built to get you hooked on the app and remain on the app for as long as possible. And
that's the funny thing that people don't get is their business model is requiring you to stick around as long as possible, so you continue to pay month after month after month. They don't really want you to find anybody.
Yeah, and even with that, you see that dating apps struggle to monetize. It's actually difficult for them, even though they're so they're everywhere. It's difficult for them to monetize. So it may actually be the more transparent solution to just say, let's make this a service, and I will focus on you, and you pay me for my time, and and that's it.
Yeah.
So in Switzerland, do you find what is the, I don't want to say the most popular age group, but right away in my head, I'm thinking like my dad or someone who's lost their wife and they just want someone to go to coffee and dinner. So do you get a lot of older people?
So what we see is, it's interesting. So the two top categories right now on the platform are education and companionship. So even in a decriminalized country where you could actually book sexual intimacy, that's not the top category. So what we see is that younger people, so between 20 and 35, are actually booking the educational services. So what we categorize as education is, these are customers that book a coffee date with, or a coffee meeting, I should say, with a sex worker, so with a dominatrix or a BDSM specialist or a somatic sexologist or or a full service sex worker, but not to request intimate services, but to ask questions. So they actually want to get better at something or get a know-how transfer, and it's really difficult to find and request in a serious way, again, without the nudity and WhatsApp, ambiguity. Find someone who has 10 years of experience in kink or BDSM, and just to ask questions like, how does it work? What kind of levels are there? What would the location look like, etc.
Yeah.
There are many things around, intimacy that influence or shape our relationships, or conflict in relationships. And people, I think people are thinking that, instead of getting theoretical know-how or just theoretical know-how, why don't I ask someone, who does this for a living?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So people are the people that are looking to implement these kind of things into their lives are going to the professionals and getting educated, and so that they can bring it into their own lives properly, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then that's the younger group, and then the older age group is, currently that's always I'm explaining that's the current data set. The older age group, that would be the ones that pay for just companionship, like 2 hours of coffee, for example.
Sure.
Going to the theater or going to a movie, dinner.
Exactly. But with the option to add a romantic twist on it. So I think it's important to distinguish between, what's very popular in Japan, like rent a friend or rent a almost tour guide or rent a local, to, I think, where we position ourselves on the romantic companionship side. So, you would go to the opera, but it would have a kind of a date-like sphere or
Sure.
touch, where it may not involve physical touch. It may not involve holding hands, but it's more on the date side than on the, oh, we're just friends, going,
Sure.
like from a dress up perspective as well, etc.
It's got that first date feel where you don't know if you're going to be holding hands or kissing or anything, that kind of stuff, but the possibility is there.
Because that's more difficult to find, really, especially for different age groups.
Yeah, and I think especially now in the age of social media and the youth not learning how to be social with each other, these kind of things will become useful and essential because it is practice for the real world.
Absolutely. That's why, for example, one of the services is called Wing Person Experience.
Okay.
So because people offering or providing paid companionship are typically very outgoing people. So you could also just say, come with me to a bar or a restaurant, or and help me get in touch with other people in a in a natural way, so that I don't need you the next time.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have like a wingman section?
No, that's what you just said. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you described it as, but categorize it as.
I say wing person, to include everyone. But it's, by the way, it's also interesting. Probably while we were talking, you were always assuming that the client side is male and the provider side is female.
For the most part, yeah, I would assume the percentages are largely in that.
I would, yeah.
Yeah, but the reason is not that. Okay, so this is a thesis, but our thesis is that the reason one market is way larger than the other is not that the market is actually different in size. We think it's because of the platforms that are available. Because we ran a survey across male clients or customers or potential customers and female customers. And we asked, given that you would request paid companionship in whichever form, what would be your top priority, from a platform like ours? And then the male section said very clearly, provider verification. I want to be absolutely sure that the person I see on the screen or I see on the profile is the one that I'm chatting with, the one that I'm going to meet, etc.
Yep.
And on the female responses, it was also very clear, but it was all around safety. So if I would request a service through your platform, how are you going to make sure that this person is going to be polite, treat me well, and the more intimate the service would get, the more it becomes a priority. So let's assume you would want a movie night, but at your place, nothing intimate or sexual, but it's still intimate because it's kind of in your place, right?
It's in your safe space, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's really where we come in, because female customers were historically excluded from the paid companionship market because there's no platform focusing on safety.
Okay.
And so we are kind of nudging the entire market to a place, and then we're blaming the market that it's the way it is. But looking at what's out there, it can only be that way.
Right. Yeah. There's nowhere for them to go. So what percentages do you see of people coming to the app? What percentage of females are coming to the app looking for companionship?
Yeah. So right now that market is new. That's the education piece that we have to do and to sort of get the word out and spread the word that this is now available and there is a platform now focusing on safety and this is what opens up the market also for female customers.
Okay. I was just going to ask how long has Choice been available? When did you guys launch the app?
So, we launched the app back in September. Well, it's not an app; it's a website technically, because app stores wouldn't allow our us to publish the app for the intimacy part. So we launched it in September, but really the functionality, the basic functionality that we have today, including all the payment processing, that was completed in July. So it's basically a couple of months only.
Oh, it's very relatively new. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
And you kind of need the payment function to actually make it a safe platform. So that kind of safety thing, it sounds very easy, but it has a very long rat's tail.
How long was the process of developing the app or the website? How long was the process of development?
So I would say literally about a year. To the state where we are right now, but obviously there's a research component and feedback cycles that extend the development process, of course. But yeah, I would say about a year.
Okay.
What was the biggest obstacle launching this before you could launch this?
I think, not I think, but it was provider skepticism. So I personally thought we are going through fundraising. We are building a team of top engineers. We're coming into this market from from an outside space with a fresh view and the focus on safety. Everybody and we don't charge providers anything. My wrong expectation was that people are going to say, "Cool that you're building this. Here's some feedback. You're building this for free, basically, for us. Thank you." Right?
Yeah.
And the reaction was exactly the opposite, like 180 degrees opposite. Was
oh, really?
Why are you doing this? What's the catch? Anybody who's ever done or developed anything in this space has only ripped us off. Why should you be different? So that was more the going in reaction, and that's also what took us quite a while, I would say, to establish. I wouldn't say we have achieved it, but some level of credibility within the provider community, which in the US, by the way, especially for companionship, is quite large. If you go on X and you search for FMTY, which is Fly Me to You, which is kind of a bit of jargon for paid companionship, you'd find about 10,000 X profiles that have it in that have that particular expression in their bio.
Oh, wow.
Based in the U.S.
Okay. Wow. I've never heard of that.
I haven't either. So obviously you want to conquer the U.S. as well and other parts of the country. But what? So how is that? If I go to your app in the States, in Switzerland, or not app, I apologize, the website, we hook up a Zoom call for intimacy or just the companionship. Is that should be legal, right? Or is that something you offer?
Yeah, that's also legal. Like it's strange. Sometimes I feel like it's opposite worlds, because OnlyFans sort of destigmatized any remote interaction around intimacy. So it's normal that IDs are scanned. It's normal that payment is done through such a platform, etc. But when it comes to in-person interaction, even if it's just for paid, like just for companionship, there's zero regulation or safety functionality. It's basically directories, so yellow pages that are out there where you have an ad, and there are profile pictures, a description, and the WhatsApp number, and that's it. The rest is up to whoever writes to whoever has the number or email address there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of insane, because if you think about it, on OnlyFans, it's standard that chat is paid. But when it comes to the in-person interaction, it's standard that anything leading up to the meeting is unpaid. Why would that be the case? Because that's time as well. That's time, time invested, and it makes it tremendously difficult for providers to qualify leads, so to say. Yeah. Because you have 500 people reaching out to you saying, "Hi, I saw your ad," and then how are you gonna know who actually has a booking intent and who hasn't?
Yeah.
And if it's paid, that if people are willing to pay for the chat, chances are it's a serious request. And even if it isn't, at least they're paying for your time responding to any requests.
Yeah, at least, right. At least you're getting value for your time, and your time's not being wasted on people that are never going to do anything. Yeah, OnlyFans definitely legitimize that, and we've had plenty of OnlyFans models on the podcast, and they all talk about how the only place that they're willing to chat is on OnlyFans, because they're getting paid for the service, and it's what they do for a living, and so they're going to make sure that they get what they're worth, and it makes sense.
But it's interesting. So I think that's again where the companionship extension of the market is so important and so much needed. Yeah. We had people sign up to Choice, for example, only offering companionship services. like nothing intimate, not even holding hands. And when we ask them during we do a lot of verification video calls with providers. Even some customers have asked for that possibility. And when asked if they've ever done something around paid chat or paid companionship, the answer was no, and they said they wouldn't necessarily have signed up, or they wouldn't have wanted to try OnlyFans because that's too explicit. That's already around intimacy, or it's an explicit service. So, and I think the opportunity also for just wealth transfer in a macroeconomic sense is huge, because so we had someone sign up. They only offered companionship services, companionship chat, and they made about $950 in 12 hours with text-based chat.
Okay, so you go to a website to look for the companionship, but you also go to your website to say, "Hey, I want to sign up to offer companionship." Is that a different, obviously a different process, but same website?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's actually, I mean, it's the same. It's literally the same. It's the same button. You register, or you click sign up, and then you just say, I'm a customer or I'm a provider.
Okay. And then you go through the process, and obviously talk about the safety part of I book something, and how do I know I'm going to get what I'm asking for, what I paid for? So I'm assuming I pay ahead of time.
So yes. So what you do is, so first of all, everybody is verified on the platform.
Sure.
So you cannot request an in-person meeting without going through the full verification process, not as a provider, not as a client. So what that means is everybody scans a valid government-issued ID and takes a selfie. And then on the provider side, there are additional verifications such as the video calls, or references, for example, or also social media verifications. So there's a whole range of verification options that we're also continuously adding new ones to. And then you select the time and date that the provider is available at. So providers need to put availability into the system. They say, I am available, in this city, or in this state, or in this country, or in this location, plus 5 hours flight time radius on these dates, and then you select. You select the duration. It calculates the price. You pay the entirety up front, but not directly to the provider. It goes into escrow with us.
Okay.
And it stays there. It stays there until a successful check-in. So when the two people meet, there's a check-in process whereby the client side scans a QR code from the provider side that refreshes every 20 seconds, so that you cannot send around screenshots, and to ensure that the actual verified people are the ones who are also meeting.
Wow. Okay.
Right. And then you have the meeting, and after the meeting, there is a post-meeting feedback.
Okay.
So after the meeting, we ask both parties two questions. One is, were the behavioral guidelines met? So it's kind of the minimum. And then, would you want to repeat this experience? Which is a very careful way of a qualitative indication of how it was. Beyond the absolute bare minimum of behavioral guidelines.
Okay.
And if they don't show up?
So that's where the escrow comes into play. So if the check-in doesn't happen, then it depends what happened, right? So check-in cannot happen for various reasons. So, for example, we had two safety incidents on the platform already before the meeting actually happened, and both were around boundary pushing. Okay. So clients trying to renegotiate services, or renegotiating meeting location, short notice, etc. And without the escrow, the negotiation position is automatically weaker on the provider side because the time is already booked. So there's no other, there's no opportunity to fill that time. So it's either lost money or giving in to the negotiation. And we're kind of equalizing that through the escrow, because what we can do is, and what providers, or what also customers can do, by the way, from within the chat, so there's an on-platform chat, but from within the chat, you can report at any time behavioral guideline violations.
Okay.
And you can, for example, the provider could say, client threatened me, here is the screenshot, I don't feel comfortable meeting with this client anymore. And if it's approved, that person will get a strike on their profile that will be visible to other people chatting with them afterwards. Plus, the provider will qualify for, keeping the money, keeping the funds, especially if it's short notice.
Yeah.
And that's a kind of, you can only do that or guarantee that if you facilitate the payments. Otherwise, it doesn't really work, and it's a critical component.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very critical. Yeah, it makes sense, and that's a great way to protect both sides, actually.
Yeah, and it's also, I think for us, it's really about creating accountability on both sides.
Yeah.
For this destigmatization to happen as well, because we believe that part of the stigma also comes from things that we hear, from the media, from the press, or this feeling of this market being shady or, kind of intransparent. And where does it come from? Where does this feeling come from? From movies, from the way the market is pictured or described. But there is nothing pointing to, at least not nowadays, talk about 20 years ago or 30 years ago, maybe a different story. But nowadays, there's absolutely nothing preventing us from, building this market in a safe way that is integrated into society, as opposed to marginalized. And there's such a societal benefit that we can create through this. It's just that, it just needs to be done, basically.
Well, I mean, I wish you all the luck, because breaking the stigma is going to be the biggest problem you have, and it's a market that's needed. I think,
absolutely.
Because of the confidence, the loneliness, the anxiety or worrying about trying, like you said, I want someone for a party or something. It takes that all out of it. So, it's a great market.
Yeah, also around equality, why should women, be excluded from this market?
Yeah, absolutely.
How many situations are there where, probably where male customers can just go and say, oh, well, then I'll just request this as a service, and female counterparts, kind of can't, because there are safety implications as women on the customer side. Why is that? Why shouldn't women also be able to request paid companionship in a safe way, without compromising their own safety?
Yeah.
So if I sign up to be a provider, will you be my reference?
I feel like you're putting me in a spot there. No, I won't.
Damn. Well, what the hell? Right to the.
I probably don't have a lot of male providers in the States yet, do you? I'm guessing.
I'm a great cuddler.
No, we don't have a lot of male providers in the States yet. No.
There you go.
That's why I'm saying.
I think it's this normalization, of people becoming, paid companionship providers on the platform.
Yeah, I do know that there is
that will lead to the destigmatization.
Yeah, I have heard of the cuddling market in the States. That people pay to cuddle, which I think is great. So it's really, same thing, right? So
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's exactly that nuance that needs to, that needs to come across.
Yeah.
It's not the stereotype that everybody thinks it is.
Well,
And it's not, there is no typical market. There is
Yeah.
no typical provider profile. There is no typical customer profile. If it's one thing I've learned through the past, almost 2 years, there is no typical in this market. It's a cross section through society, and there is everything and anything.
Right. And the biggest help to destigmatizing all of this is to talk about it, and to talk about the positive experiences that people are having with your website and your service, and just informing people that this stuff is happening, and it's happening safely, and it's happening positively, and people are benefiting from it, and
it's okay.
Yeah, and it's okay. So
yeah, so that's the feedback we're getting from providers. So they, for example, say there's obviously conversion is lower on our platform than with others due to the safety restrictions, but the meetings that actually happen are high quality.
Right.
It's nice people that meet, because why would you go through all these hoops if
Right.
you have something to hide or a bad intention?
Right.
Why would you go on the one platform, where
Right.
everything can get reported, and you're ID'd and everything, and you're prepaying and so forth, and there's just no point. So I think that's what we're trying to do, this market selection. And in the beginning, it's a selection. So in the beginning, it's this, what we're experiencing is the lower conversions. But in the mid to long run, it'll open up the rest of the market that is closed now because of the safety concerns.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Well, I mean, I think it's great service, and we definitely are, here to help push it, because it's needed. It really is needed. So, where else can let them know where they can go to find everything?
So the website is choice.ch.
Okay.
CH is for Switzerland. That's because we're headquartered in Switzerland, but available globally. And then the Instagram is saferchoice.ch.
Okay.
There's also YouTube channel, Safer Choice CH. There's an X channel, Safer Choice CH. And the rest all the other links are on the website as well.
Awesome.
Well, I want to touch on that real quick, and I apologize to keep you longer, but YouTube. So what do you discuss on YouTube? You have a regular channel where you talk about it, like weekly or monthly or something?
Yeah. So we have these paid companionship industry insights I try to do it on a weekly basis, but sometimes it's bi-weekly, where me and Harper, well, now Madeline, are discussing, just recent things or things that happened either on the platform or in her life or experience. And she was she is the subject matter expert to the UK government for the Online Safety Act.
Okay.
And so we discussed things like, for example, there was a payment platform called Wish Tender that collapsed, reasons for that, or we discuss, stigma experiences, discriminatory experiences, or also things that happen on the platform, the way we approach features, how we build features, the kind of thought process we go through when we add a new one or when we deactivate an existing one.
Sure. Yeah. Have you guys had any issues with any of the credit card companies for payment? Because I know, like in the States, we have issues like where Pornhub has been shut down in some states because of payment. Not, the company's not allowing payments or whatever. Do you have any issues with payment companies?
Yeah, so I think that's the root cause of challenges in this industry in general. And the reason is that no platform like us exists. So compliance departments at payment processors need to be educated as well. And that's obviously a process that took time and continues to take time, because we are the only platform that actually verifies the clients. So arguably, a credit card transaction on our platform is safer than an Amazon transaction because we are comparing the name on the credit card with the name on the ID that is verified with the selfie in order to process the credit card. Plus, we are putting that's only for the payment to go into escrow with us, right? That's not a transfer yet.
Yeah.
And then we only release the payment once the check-in is successful. So once two verified, because the provider side is also ID'd and verified, are put at the same location for a very clearly defined and legal service to be rendered.
Yeah.
So that I think that that chain is unique, and then the post-meeting feedback to confirm behavioral guidelines were met.
Absolutely.
But that needs to be explained each time because that's not how any other platform works in this space.
Right. Yeah. And you're unique and bringing something brand new to them, and they have to understand it just like that everybody else. So it's cool that you're out talking about it and bringing light to it and showing everybody that this is something that can happen and happen safely and happen positively. So
and safety is a huge thing these days. Huge.
Yeah, well, the internet is full of scams, right? So to be able to trust what you're paying for and what you're going to get, what you want to get is huge, obviously. So
yeah, also around the chat, the chatting experience. Like nowadays, you see even on OnlyFans, there's stories around people chatting for the actual creators. So from a customer perspective, it's unclear who you're chatting with for the time being, and I think our approach there is just full transparency. So eventually there will be, for example, AI models that you can chat with for a reduced rate, but it'll be clear that you're chatting with AI that was trained on the conversations of the real person.
Okay.
And because you're chatting with AI, you are paying a lower amount on a per message basis. And then whenever you want to chat with the real person, you just pay the higher price. It's just private market dynamics, but there's no need to actually make it ambiguous or cheat anyone or scam anyone or be untruthful about who you're chatting with or who you're interacting with.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because people are willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on and talking about this. I'm excited for you, and I'm excited to see how this expands in the States, and how what happens here, because I do
something needs to be done.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's
to break
needed,
it down,
and so it'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely keep you posted.
Awesome. Thank you
awesome.
very much.
Well, it was a pleasure meeting you.
What time is it?
Likewise.
Yeah.
Now it's about 2:00.
Well, thank you for doing it at 2:00 in the morning. We appreciate it.
No worries, no problem at all. Like I used to travel about 250 days a year across the world. So right now I'm in one location and it's one meeting at 1 a.m. That's perfectly fine. I'm happy. Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been fun, and
awesome.
We're excited to watch you grow.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. The tavern is closed for now, but we'd love to have you back for more fun next time. Seriously, though, get your asses out of here.